started. I'm watching on Facebook Live, make sure nobody made the mistake of thinking that's where they had to go. But can everyone hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
All right. So one thing I wanted to make sure to tell you about before we get into anything else is I got these face masks for everybody. I think you've been seeing, we've been posting pictures of them. James was wearing one a couple minutes ago. For anybody who wants one, I'm trying to set a time where, because we're not meeting in person these days, so I know I gave a couple out today to people I went on appointments with, but for everybody else who wants one, I'm going to next Tuesday. If you want, Kevin's wearing his now. So next Tuesday for anybody who wants them, unless we have appointments scheduled. If we have appointments, don't worry about it, because I'll just give it to you when we meet together. But if not, next Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30, I'm gonna drink a margarita in your honor at Senior Fox. And so I'm gonna sit there from 6:30 to 8:30 outside on the patio. And so for anybody who wants these, you can either come and just pick it up, or you can come in and drink a margarita with me. Your call, but I will be there from 6:30 to 8:30 next Tuesday, the 26th at Senior Fox on Nemo Parkway in Virginia Beach. For most of you who've done margarita days already, we mostly have done them there. And I got plenty. I got one for all of you. If not, if you're long distance, because I know some of you guys are long distance, Arthur, I'm looking at you. Just text me your mailing address and I'll get one mailed out to you. But if you are here locally, then just go ahead and stop by Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30. I'll make sure I stay outside. Obviously, everything's outside now. And you can either come in and have a drink or just grab it and go. Your call, but I wanted to make sure because I know everybody's been texting me, when can I get one? When can I get one? And I'm like, well, I haven't seen anybody except the people I'm on appointments with. And so,
can we have 2 drinks?
You can have 2 drinks. Absolutely. Yes.
Maybe
you might not need it over there. They've been making them the way they used to make them again, meaning they're trying to keep the people happy right now. So, so you might not need to, but if you want to, you can. But John, I've drank margaritas with you once or twice before, and we need to just stick to one.
We need to stick to Uber too.
Yeah. Your wife's gonna beat my butt if I let you have 2. So
and vice versa.
You're just gonna have one. So if anybody wants to come by and pick them up. If not, just text me your full mailing address and I'll get one mailed out to you. I know some of you guys aren't even here locally. Just text me your mailing address and I'll get it mailed out to you. So I know a lot of you aren't on the call yet, but I don't want to hold out since it's time. And you know, it's one of those things I feel like, well, if we start without them, you know, it's rude to them. But if we wait on them, it's rude to everyone else that's on time. So we just roll with it and go with it. So I know we got some new slow flips this month. James, you got one. Michelle, you got new. I lost you, Michelle. You were there a second ago.
I'm right here, Scott.
I don't know. I don't see. Oh, there you are. You're right. There you are. I got you now. You guys rotating squares. So I lost you for a minute. So I know you guys each bought a new slow flip this month. Did anyone else? Oh, you know, Renee, did you buy another one this month? I think you may have bought one as well.
Closing Wednesday next week.
Closing Wednesday next week. Did anyone else buy any slow flips yet this month? I know those 3 that I'm aware of. I wasn't sure if anybody else bought any new ones. Alex is not on here. I know Alex just closed on a wholesale deal and has another one pending right now. And what I wanted to talk about, and actually Mike's not on. I don't see Mike Sorrells on. I'm up. Wait, there he is. There he is. All right, I see you. And what was it on? Jay and Denise. Jay and Denise, are you guys on? So I want to talk, Mike, I'm going to talk about your deal in a minute. And I want to talk about Jay and Denise's deal in a minute. But one of the things I did a video talking to you guys about was both of their appointments this week, which is ironic because, you know, we get appointments all different ways, but both of their appointments this week back to back were both from Bandit Signs. And that's why I went ahead and did that video for you because, you know, the bulk of our deals come from direct mail, right? And then this week I had 2 great appointments that were both from Bandit Signs. And then I personally had 2 good appointments. I bought one so far and I have another one tomorrow that were both from the website, my website. And I do really, really good with my website. And I'm going to talk about that lastly tonight because there's a lot of you guys are doing well with your websites. And James, I lose you again looking for you. I know you're one of them. When I Google them all, I see your site coming up a lot. Kevin, yours actually, me and my wife were looking at yours this morning and I needed to talk to you about yours. Your placement's great. Like you're getting found. But for some reason on yours, when you click on it, and I don't know if it's not going to the front page or what it's doing, it's not showing your your sheet to fill out your information. So you might want to look in, I meant to call you this morning. Well, we would just looked at it this morning and I said, I don't know why it's not showing your initial, you should have your sign up stuff right up top. And for some reason it's not, unless it's not opening to the front page. And so I meant to call you this morning, but something to look at. And so we, you know, every morning, I think I told you guys, Lowell, I love your background. Every morning we're always Googling and checking all of our search terms to see who's coming up and who we can find and not find. And some of you guys have been, you know, really ranking well. And James, that's why I was talking about you. You're doing, like in Virginia Beach, you're coming right up top. It took me almost 2 years to get the rankings that we have now. And I'm still not always number one, but I'll tell you what we are doing is we're getting leads every single week, like every week getting multiple leads. And these are technically, I want to call them free leads, although we pay $100 a month for Carrot, but technically they're free leads compared to what we spend on all of our other marketing. And so they're really good leads. Plus they're the only lead source out of all the lead sources that they're coming to us. Every other lead source, we're going to them. And so the seller feels a feeling of superiority, like you want my house, right? I'm sure you guys have answered these phone calls, right? Where they're like, well, you know, you sent me the letter, you want my house, I'll sell it for $3 million, right? Like they think we specifically want their house. Our web leads, our internet leads are the only lead that they seeked us out. They came to us. So it keeps us in the position higher. And so they're really, really good leads. So it's something to think about. And I really want to start working more on your websites because as a group, we are doing really, really well. And again, I know some of you, I'm looking at some of you aren't here locally, but for those of you who are here locally, which is the majority of you, when you Google your search terms and you say, sell my house fast, Norfolk, we buy houses, Virginia Beach, and you start clicking on all the top sites and not the paid ones, although some of our guys are doing paid, but not the paid ones, all the organic ones, you're going to see that we're dominating. I mean, we're probably 5 or 6 out of 10 are us right here, which is pretty good. I mean, as a group, we're really getting a lion's share of those, but there's a lot of things that we can do better. And that's what I want to talk about after. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Is Kirk and Tammy on here?
Tammy's not on, but I'm on.
Oh, Kirk, I see you there. You're in your car. So you got a deal this week and you said you got it. I think you said you got it from Deal Machine, correct?
Deal Machine, that's right.
And so that was another thing. When I was thinking earlier today, I was like, we have a lot of deals working right now and they're all from different lead sources. It's one of the things we've always said is that there's, you know, we don't have one way to get 50 deals. We have 50 ways to get one deal. And so you got to do all the different things. And so, you know, we have a couple this week that came from the internet, a couple from Bandit Signs, a couple from Velocity, a couple from networking, a couple from Deal Machine. And so it's important that everybody is doing all the different things. It's easy to get lazy. And by lazy, I mean, you know, Velocity is great, but it's just, you know, it's lazy because all we have to do is stroke a check and wait for leads. But there's so many other things we can be doing in the interim and take more control over it. And so that's why I want to make sure I point out the other deals that everyone else is getting. Also, I wanted to mention, we got another $300,000 available to us in slow flip money just this week. And I'm constantly working on getting more and more lenders. And so we have just this week got another 300,000 available, which means, and I know James is like, oh, I'm on it. James, I see you over there. James texted me this morning. He says, what did you say? He says, is there a rehab for this? I feel like I'm addicted to slow flips. And I said the only rehab's in the Bahamas because it is highly, highly addictive. And James, you and Renee, I think are both in crackhead for slow flip mode like I am. And I really want you all to be that way because once you start buying them and compare it with anything else you do, you're going to be like, man, I just want more. I just want more. And because slow flips are so good. Michelle, okay, you popped back on. I know you have a bunch now as well. There's nothing else like them. And now we have more. Oh, you have 3. Okay, great. And so we have more and more money raised. And so I can't stress it enough. The money's there. All you have to do is go pick one that you want. Pick one you want. We have people that will fund it. We have people that will fill it. We have people that handle the collections for you. I mean, all you have to do is just go out and say, yes, I'll take that one. That's it. It doesn't take any money. And some of them, if you get one for 20 grand, you actually walk away with 10 grand in your pocket because the loans are all 30 grand. So, you know I stress this every single time and everybody's like, oh, you're always talking about slow flips. It's because I really believe in them that much. I mean, and for those of you who are into them, you already know, but for those of you who aren't, every time I talk about them, it's me pushing you to do them, because a couple of years from now, those of you who embrace it now, a couple of years from now, you're all going to be, thank God I did it back then in 2020 and didn't wait until 2025 when they would have all been paid off already. And I see somebody, I don't know how this works. Somebody said, raised a hand. Who was that? Somebody raised a hand. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly how to work this, but a thing popped up and said somebody was raising a hand. Whoever it was, just go ahead and speak if you got a question. Hello, has anyone done slow flips with mobile homes? Jane. So mobile homes is that's a great question. So she just asked, has anyone done slow flips with mobile homes? And that is a great question. And I'm going to tell you the answer is kind of interesting. I actually started that model with mobile homes. Years ago, we couldn't buy houses for the price structure. You guys aren't in a rush, right? All right, just make sure. I'll crack a beer then. All right, so years ago, we couldn't buy houses for the prices we buy now, right? And so we exclusively did mobile homes on this program. And the way we used to do them, and Janie, if you're thinking this is why I'm telling you the story. The way we used to do them is we used to buy the old kind of crappier ones. We would buy them on average for about $2,000, $3,000 on rented lots. And we would pay cash for them. And then we would sell them generally for $8,900 with $500 down. It was $226 a month for 8 years. It was 18% interest. So you're like $226 a month. But if you did the math, we only had $2,000 into it. We got 500 down, 226 a month. In about 10 months, we were free and clear of the entire thing. And now we had another 7 years pure profit, which is just like the slow flip model, right? What changed was after the bust, we were like, we can do this exact same thing we've been doing, only with houses now, the exact same model. Back then you couldn't buy houses under 100,000, so nothing worked to pay them off. But now, because of the bust, we were blessed with this opportunity where we can buy houses the same way we used to buy mobile homes. And so because of that, I have not even looked at mobile homes since then, because it's the same amount of effort to go and do a contract, the same amount of time to do a deal, the same amount of time to fill it, only now I'm getting paid for 8 years or however you structured your financing as opposed to 30 years. And I always had the lot rent. So you never really are paid off. Even though you paid cash, you always had that $450 a month lot rent. So in the end, I was like, nope, houses are a way better deal to go. But the short answer to your question, Janie, is yes, you can do them on mobile homes. And yes, I have. I did them for a while with mobile homes until I stopped. Hope that answers your question. What was I was getting ready to tell you something else before that. Deal Machine, 300,000 slow flips are, okay. So I'm going to tell you before we get into what I wanted to talk about tonight. I want to tell you also, so I got a contract done yesterday, and I want to tell you just about how it came about because it was kind of interesting. The night before, so yesterday was Wednesday, so Tuesday night at like 10:30 at night, I'm watching Ozarks. Anybody watch Ozarks? Man, that show's crazy. I just got into it late. We're in 3rd season now, but a really good show. Anyway, it's like 10:30 at night. We're watching it, and the byline rings. And my wife ditches, as she always does, and she don't come back. So I'm on pause the whole time, and that's a little aggravating. You're in the middle of a show, and I'm on pause for like 30 minutes till she finally comes back in. And then she comes back in, and she's, you know, how she gets. She's like, oh, I just set an appointment. This lady, I don't even remember the lady inherited it. She lives out of state. It's been vacant. It was a rental, and said she already had an offer from another investor. She got out of her what the offer was, which was good because it gave us a basis. And so I went out the next day and looked at the property, and it's like in great condition. Not retail, like great, like granite and stuff, but I mean, rent ready 100%. It's like in perfect condition. And the comps are good. The comps are like 140, you know, for a decent condition house. The other investor offered 50 over the phone. It was an out-of-state investor. And so we came back and I offered 59, and she did not accept it. And on the spot anyway, she had to talk about it. And then she ended up negotiating with her, and we ended up contracting it at 75, which is a great deal. It's in great condition. And so we're going to close on it immediately. I think we're supposed to close by the end of this month, which is next week. And I'm just going to list it. I'm going to do, you know, like we've talked about with certain situations, it just makes sense. And this is one of them. I can wholesale it right now and probably make $10,000 or $15,000 on it. And even that's kind of tricky because it'd be a rental, you know, more or less it'd be sold to somebody as a rental. But I can list it below market at like 119 right now. And then even after selling cost and everything, you walk away with 110 and end up making 35. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to run the numbers with you for when you come across those situations, you can make that decision. Yes, it's great. You can make 10 grand right now. And sometimes sometimes the opposite comes out where I'm like, no, take the money, take the money. It's definitely worth it. Better now to take the money. But then sometimes there's situations like this one where it just makes sense to close on it and then put it on the open market and get what the market will bear. And I know it'll probably end up being $30,000, $35,000 if we take what the market will bear. So that's the option that I'm going with. Second thing I want to tell you, that house, I've been working for a while.